This is section 7.4a, notes page 2. We have two problems on this page. We have a percent problem, which is very similar to the problem we just did about money, and then a break-even problem, which we'll do second. First is our percent combination. The main idea of this problem is we have combining two different types of acid to create 30 pounds of liquid. So, our types of acid are type A and type B. So our variables are very straightforward. I'm going to say let A equal the amount. It's important to talk about amount here, or quantity, of A acid. And let B equal the amount or quantity of B acid. The percentages at this point really have nothing to do with the problem. But the idea is we're pouring two large quantities of acid into another vat, and totally we'll have 30 pounds of new acid. So our first equation has to do with quantity, just like the money did. And that's A plus B equals 30 pounds. Our second equation has to do with percent. And we're going to take and say our A is 20% times A, plus our B is 8% times B, and our total is 12%, and that's going to multiply by 30. Now, take your calculators out and multiply 30 times 0.12. That answer is 3.6. And so I'm just going to put that down here below, realizing that this second equation actually equals 3.6. Now we go to solve these two equations. I'm going to use the elimination method. My first step is going to multiply the bottom equation by 100 in order to get rid of the decimals. It makes it much easier. So 20A, 8B, and 3.6 times 100, or 360. Then I'm going to look at the top equation and say, do I want to drop out the A's or the B's? Well, I'm going to choose the smaller one, and that's the B's. And so I'm going to multiply this top equation by negative 8. That gives me negative 8A, negative 8B, and negative 8 times 30 is negative 240. I now look at it vertically and I say, hey, I can add these up and drop out the B's. That gives me 12A equals 120. Very simply, divide both sides by 12 at this point, and my answer is, it seems like A equals 10. So later in the problem we need to make sure we state there are 10 pounds of A acid. Now I need to solve and find out the value of B. To find the value of B, I'm going to use the top equation to do this. A plus B equals 30. Well, 10 plus B equals 30. I subtract 10 from both sides, and B equals 20. I now have my second answer to the equation. To make sure we did these correctly, we need to check it and into the other equation. So, 0.20 times A plus 0.08 times B equals 3.6. I'm going to plug in my value of A, which was 10, and my value of B, which was 20. 10 times 0.20 is 2. 20 times 0.08 is 1.6. And those do add up, and so my answer is, you have 10 pounds of acid type A and 20 pounds of acid type B. Make sure you always answer your problem using a complete sentence. Now we look at our second problem. Our second problem talks about the idea of break even. That's when the amount of money that you make equals the amount of money that you've spent. Here we're having a small startup business, typing pages for a doctor. Our startup cost for the computer and other items costs $7.50. We're charging $5.50 per page that we make, and our expenses are 50 cents per page. Now, the question is, find the break-even point. To do this, we have to design and figure out the value of how many pages we're actually going to type. Pages, that's going to be P, and that's going to be my variable, the number of pages typed. I really don't have a second variable in this case, and so here I'm just going to go with the first variable. How do I make money here? Well, my income I charge $5.50 per page, so that's 550p. My expenses, well, I have that startup cost of $17.50. That's a one-time thing, and then I have 50 cents per page. And so my real question is, the idea of break-even is when your expenses equal your income. And so to solve this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two equations and I'm going to set them equal to each other. 550p equals 1750 plus 50 cents p. Fairly straightforward to solve this. I subtract 50 cents p from both sides, and that gives me 5p equals 1750. To solve, I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I'm going to find that p equals 350 pages. So here's a case where we've solved and determined that we have to type 350 pages to break even. Just for more additional information, every page we type past 350, we're going to make $5 on. Where did I get that from? Well, we charge $5.50 and it costs us 50 cents. So we have 350 pages. This concludes this second part.